Chapter 8. Intoxicated. However, as the saying goes, all things must pass, and so our little fleeting triumph and victories at our sister club are soon buried under the old frustrations of the job upon our return. The moaning, whining and nagging, the complaints about how a room can be too hot and too cold at the same time, it's our siren call back to the monotony of routine. To make matters worse, as I'm doing my rounds on the gaming floor and taking coffee orders from some of the most annoying customers in the history of hospitality, I spot a familiar face. It's not the face that gets my attention first of all, it's the loud voice and the clothes, the familiar tradie clothes I've seen before. He's drinking a beer and sloshing it all over the place as he badmouths an inanimate object for not behaving the way it's not supposed to. Should have known going out to that other club would somehow come back to bite us. What's that saying? Something about no good deed goes unpunished? Oh well. At least now I have someone to share my frustrations with as I spot Luke in his usual place behind the bar, mixing up a couple of cappuccinos and handing them out to the mug punters to keep busy. God damn it, I say as I stand opposite the coffee machine. I just saw that bloody boozed up tradie from the other club that we... I know, Luke interrupts, and I look at him oddly as he smiles. You know? I ask, hesitantly feeling totally confused about the situation. What's going on here anyway? I told him the machines here pay out more and generally more often than at the other place, Luke says, and beams proudly at this. I also told him that beers were a bit cheaper here and that we had the good stuff on tap. You did what? I reply. And as I stand there stunned, I visualize another less inhibited me run around to his side of the bar and throttle him while screaming, "Do you know what you've done? Do you know what you've set free here? Do you, you bastard? For the love of God, man, there are consequences to your actions." What game are you playing at here? I ask him as he makes up a few coffees for customers out on the gaming floor for me to distribute around the place. Luke thinks about this for a time and then answers, "I just thought it'd be good to add a little spice to the mix, you know." And he winks as he says this. At first I'm a little taken aback by this, but as his words sink in and I actually think about it while I'm handing out coffees to these annoying bastards, it dawns on me. His words and that wink, it all makes sense. Could it be that Luke enjoys messing with these people, management included, as much as I do? And that he's bringing this loudmouth drunk to the club just to stir the pot, as I like to do in my own subtle ways? George is walking around on the floor as well, and as I observe him from behind another bank of machines, I realize something new about him too. The way he takes the machine reserve signs and makes sure they are all propped against the right side of the next machine, and the way the coasters for drinks are all lined up a certain way. The uniformity of it all. Everything exactly in its right place. Could it be that George has OCD and is obsessive-compulsive? It would certainly explain a lot, like his need to control things right down to the littlest detail, his frustrations when things don't go the way he wants or something is out of his control. Not exactly the qualities you want in a supervisor, but then hey, I'm not the one doing the hiring around here. If I was, then interviews would probably go something like this. "Well, thanks, Spider, for coming in today. Glad you could make it. I looked over your resume, so your last position was as a debt collector? Good to know you've got a customer service background." A pause as I consult his resume once more and then, "I see here your hobbies include drinking and partying as well as the enjoyment of recreational drugs. Fantastic. I just know you're going to fit right in here with the rest of the young staff on duty. And according to this, you left your last position of employment as a bouncer after kicking an inebriated patron in the groin and shouting at him to get the fuck out of the bar and to never come back. Well, I gotta say, I admire your conflict resolution skills. I'm sure they'll come in handy during those tough bingo nights. I guess the problem probably stems from pressures at his home, the way he's always going on about his nagging, bitching wife and the problems with his kids and all the rest. I look at all the nervous little tics he has more closely now, the fact that he always has a glass of water and seems to be taking medication for a headache or this and that, and suddenly the statistics aren't that unbelievable anymore. 1 in 2 marriages ending in divorce, and I'm asking myself how the other half ends. I take a moment to consider the enormous pressures he must be under both at work and at home, and I know there's only one correct response for someone in my position. So as I go around asking people if they want coffee and serving them coffees from the tray, I place them down on the coasters and turn them just a half an inch this way or the other. And as I pass by the odd machine, I will flick a reserve sign from one side to the other or move them around, so lots are next to one machine and none at another. Then, as I spot George chatting and preoccupied with a customer, I will move some of the chairs around a little, turning them to face a little more this way, moving some closer and some further in. And then I head back to the coffee machine and have a grin of my own for Luke as he spots me walking over. "What's so funny?" Luke asks me. And I just gesture over to George as he makes his way around the floor, moving slowly and deliberately as he readjusts all the coasters, moves around all the signs and turns all the chairs around so they're facing the same way again. It's funny to see the length some people will go to in order to maintain control in a world where such control is only ever fleeting at best. "Come on, you bastard!" we hear the tradie cry out, and George, startled into action, goes over at once to do something about it. But George isn't the only one who has his knickers in a twist over our new arrival. Julius turns up in a grey suit with lines so sharp you'd swear he had it pressed 5 minutes ago and is shaking his head as he stands before us. "I just can't believe some people," Julius is saying as Luke and I both look at him. There I am regaling this young working-class man with the tale of my impending marriage to Princess Margaret and my considerable sporting achievements, and he tells me that I am full of shit. "The nerve," Luke says, and begins to snicker quietly from behind the coffee machine as I decide to play devil's advocate. "That's the problem with people in Australia, Julius," I say regretfully. "Tall poppy syndrome. They see a guy who's achieved a few things and they feel the need to cut him down to size. If you ask me, it's just their own insecurities. I'm sure if you talk to him, really talk to the guy and get to know him, you'll find you get on like a house on fire." Julius thinks about this a moment as he stands there and shuffles a bit from foot to foot. Then he looks back at me, and there is this innocent smile on his lips as his eyes light up a bit, the way a kid's would. "You know what, Mike?" Julius says then. "I think I will." And with that, he walks away in the direction of the gaming machines as Luke just looks at me and shakes his head, and I find myself looking over at the clock. "That guy's gonna bloody kill him!" Luke exclaims. And as the cashier looks over at us, he just smiles at her, and I make my way back out onto the gaming floor. 10 seconds pass, 20, half a minute, and still nothing. So one of two things has happened. Number one, Julius smartened up and decided to give the angry drunk tradie a wide berth at the last moment, or number two, he had a heart-to-heart with him about his marriage to Princess Margaret, his 200 goddamn types of cold fusion, and all his other far-fetched bullshit. And the guy took pity on how obviously sad and pathetic and full of blatant lies his life is. Maybe I'm not the wonderful judge of character I like to think I am. Maybe I just know nothing of human nature at all. And maybe, just maybe... "Listen, numbnuts," I hear a loud voice. "I told you to fuck off once and now I'm fucking telling you again." "Really, sir," Julius replies meekly. "There's no need for that sort of language in this fine establishment. I'm sure we can hash our differences out here like proper gentlemen and..." But whatever eloquent nonsense was about to spew out of his wildly misguided mouth and deluded mind, I guess I'll never know, because the next thing I hear is a loud smacking sound, an oof, like in the movies, and then the sound of someone hitting the ground. "Now would you mind shutting the fuck up already? You're putting me off my game." And as a few other patrons nearby look on stunned, I round the corner and observe the scene before me. Julius is lying on the floor out cold, and the drunken tradie has a beer glass in one hand which he sips from as he pushes the buttons over and over again, oblivious to the fuss he's causing. George is quickly at my shoulder, looking furious as hell. "What the fuck's going on here, Mike?" he says in hushed tones so the mug punters don't overhear him. "Everything was fine 5 minutes ago and now this." What the hell happened, and what did you say to Julius to cause this? Me? I ask innocently. I told him to stay away from that bloke. Not my fault the guy can't follow instructions. But then we all know he's not exactly all there is, he? I'm going to have to get security and sort this mess out. George huffs testily now. Just fucking great. The GM is coming by today, and if he sees this kind of shit, it'll be my balls on the line. And we all know how the food chain works around here, or anywhere for that matter, and whose ass he'll kick when that happens. I think to myself, that bastard. So I go back to my rounds as George runs to get security, and all the while Julius is lying there on the floor as the other mug punters go about their business. Only the players close to the guy are occasionally watching him from the corners of their eyes, as if scared of what he might do if he catches them looking at him. I walk over to Julius as he appears to be coming around, and then a thought occurs to me as others look on at the scene. With any luck, that blow has knocked him around enough so that his memory isn't so sharp on recent events, like the conversation we had a few minutes before he got knocked the fuck out. Otherwise, it could be a little tricky to explain to George. So, a few minutes later, as he sits down out in the smoking area, I bring him a bag of ice, which he puts over his swollen eye and sits there, still looking groggy and out of it. He takes the ice away for a moment, and I can see a huge lump is there right under his eye, and I turn away with an amused little smile on my face. Admittedly, there is a part of me that is sympathizing just a little with his predicament, since I know how incredibly vain and egotistical he is, and getting punched by a drunken tradie in front of people you see every day can't exactly be great for his rep. On the other hand, given how much ridiculous bullshit he spouts on a regular basis while at the club, the fact that he looks down on those who play the machines and considers himself better than most everyone else, almost as if he's royalty, well, frankly, I'm just surprised this didn't happen sooner. How's that for adding spice to the mix? I ask Luke back at the bar. With any luck, we won't be seeing Julius in gaming again for some time. Julius? Luke asks, confused. Don't you mean the pissed tradie? I mean, he was the bloke who punched someone out, wasn't he? Really, Luke, I say, shaking my head. Much to learn about our new industry, have you? It's not too late to go back to the cafe, you know. Nah, stuff that, Luke replies. This is way better than that or my last job at Jetty Surf. George approaches the bar then and spots us talking. He looks like a man on a mission. Something serious must be going on. And I've had a talk with Christine about our current situation, George says. We've decided to call a meeting. There are some things that have been going on for some time now around here, and we feel it's about time they were addressed. I'll let you both know when the meeting's going to be. And Mike, why are there bloody two of you behind the coffee machine? Go get your ass out on the gaming floor and do your job, or I'll find someone else to do it. Right away, George, I say, and head out to do just that. The day of the meeting comes, and I'm sitting at one side of a large conference table in one of the club's many boardrooms as Luke walks in with a coffee cup in each hand, passing me one as he sits beside me. The others haven't gotten here yet, but then it's just a matter of time. Thanks, I say, as I take it and sip a fair bit of the stuff straight away. I really need a pick-me-up this morning. Shortly thereafter, Christine and George arrive, Kate, the nameless girl who's always taking someone else's name badge, a few other guys whose names I can never remember, Jasmine, and as everyone takes a seat, we're soon ready to begin. Now, I've been consulting with Christine, George begins, about a situation that's been going on for some time now. It's something the customers have brought to my attention recently, and I think it's time that we dealt with it here and now. I'm thinking to myself, here we go. Coffee, George announces, and I blink a few times, trying to believe what I'm hearing. As you know, this club prides itself on the quality of the coffees we serve our members. If they wanted to get that free instant shit from some crappy machine, they could go to any other club and do just that. But they come here because we take the time to do proper ones. Lately, however, I've been getting more than my fair share of complaints from customers about the quality of the coffees we're serving. That's why we're going to be starting a course here, and we're going to put all our bar and gaming staff through it. Those of you with training as baristas will be showing the other guys how it's done. Now, Christine says, matter-of-factly, It's important that we have standards here at the club. I want each and every one of you to ask yourself this question when you're making a coffee. Is this something that I would drink myself? I'm thinking to myself then as I ponder all my misdemeanors behind the bar, especially with the coffee machine. The times I've run coffee through the same beans 2 or 3 times for particularly annoying customers. Times when I've cleaned the coffee machine with chemicals after making an announcement that I'm closing it late at night. And then 5 minutes later, when some pain in the ass customer asks me for a coffee, I've just made it anyway, regardless of how bad it will taste or how safe it may or may not be. The times I've lied to customers and told them their coffee was a skinny latte, since they can't drink full fat milk, the weak pricks, and stood there as they sipped it, wondering if they'd even know the difference. And the question to me isn't, would I drink a coffee I knew I'd made? No, it's more like, would I allow someone like me to serve me a coffee knowing the kinds of shit I do behind the bar when this job really pisses me off? And the answer is a resounding fuck no. I look up as Christine stands and begins pacing her way around the circular conference table, stopping every now and again to address each staff member by name and criticize them for this and that mistake. The way they make their coffees, tardiness, or 100 other insignificant offences committed whilst here at the club. For a moment I feel a little out of it, a little funny, probably just tired and sleepy still, so I take another sip of my coffee until it's almost all gone, and I feel a warm sensation spreading throughout my whole body. Nice to see that even though he's new to the world of gaming, Luke can still make an awesome cappuccino. I look up then from my cup, but the whole room has morphed from the conference room where we're sitting into a scene from some medieval castle. George and Christine are both wearing these black leather outfits that would fit right in if the setting was a really dodgy porno or an even dodgier 80s music video. As Luke's hands and head are poking through openings in the stocks, I see also that Kate is lying on her back with a towel over her face, while 2 burly guys hold her down and one pours water over her face. I know we're trying to keep lateness to work to a minimum, I'm thinking to myself, but really, waterboarding does seem a bit excessive. And as I look on, another version of myself stretched out vertical on an instrument I've heard referred to as the rack, as Christine stands beside the other me. "I'm just getting warmed up here, Mike," she says. "You haven't felt anything yet." And she turns a wheel by the side of the device as the other me just laughs. "Go ahead, bitch," he says in a cocky tone. "You think I don't know what pain is? I've worked the last 6 members' nights here in a fucking row. I've heard the music played here, Bryan Adams, John fucking Farnham, Roxette. I've had to deal with Angry Joe's temper tantrums, Julius and his fantasies, and bullshit, Vula's whining. So crank it up, Christine. This isn't pain. This is a cool breeze on a warm summer's day compared to the shit I usually deal with." I blink a few times, screw up my eyes and rub them a bit, and then quick as a flash, the conference room is back and the scene is just as before. Christine is sitting beside George once again. Now, as you all know, George has been with the club for some time now and putting in a lot of long, hard hours. We've had a bit of a talk about it and he's going to be taking some long service leave, so we'll have a new supervisor coming in shortly. We're not sure how long exactly that will be for. The general manager is talking to some candidates at the moment, but whoever it turns out to be, I want you all to make the person feel welcome and part of the team. Part of the team, Christine's words echo over and over in my head, part of the team. And as I look up again, I see me at the front of the room as the other staff members all sit around the circular table, awaiting their instructions. "Now guys," the other me is saying, "we all know what our assignment is going to be. Tonight's a members' night after all, and the cash prize has been maxed out over a period of months, so all your favourite customers will be there. Vula, Angry Joe, that pissed tradie whose name I can never remember, the Asian couple who spend as long arguing and screaming at each other as they do playing the machines. The Big M will probably be in attendance as well. It'll be your jobs to keep them entertained, keep them gambling and happy, and to have them stick around even after the draws have finished, regardless of whether or not they've won. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, will be to keep them in a good mood just long enough for us to extort as much money as we can, all the while providing them just enough false hope that they'll win next time, so they'll come back tomorrow night and we can go through the whole bloody charade all over again. So basically, Luke is saying, it's a fucking mission impossible, and receives a few laughs from the others at the table. Hey, I say, pointing an admonishing finger, you just leave the bad puns to me, okay? The next morning, I wake up on the couch, still dressed in my all-black uniform with my gaming license around my neck, wondering what the hell happened last night. I try to remember, but all I see are bits and pieces, little flashing pictures like I'm trying to watch a movie that's playing at the wrong speed or something. Oh well, at least on the positive side, I'm already dressed for work. Once inside the club as I approach Luke at the coffee station, however, things take a turn for the worse. For one along the way, customers are giving me funny looks. Did I forget to wear pants or something, I'm asking myself? Nope. Luke looks at me with a knowing kind of smile. How's it going, bro? Luke asks, and I look at him with a confused expression on my face. I begin hesitantly. I can't remember anything that happened after the meeting. Luke just grins. What's so funny? I ask him. Well, he says as he hands one of the regular mug punters a cappuccino. I reckon maybe it's best that you can't remember honestly. Why? I ask. I mean, surely there can't have been anything I did that was so... You gave the Big M a shoulder and back massage for one thing, Luke says, and I put my hand to my mouth and feel the immediate urge bring up breakfast as I do so. Oh, God, I mutter when I get my voice back and the urge to vomit passes. It's only when I'm out on the gaming floor again that the pieces start to come together. For one thing, George is beaming at me because as he tells me I went above and beyond the call of duty last night, staying around for hours after my shift ended to chat with the customers. And I think to myself, what in my right mind would have possessed me to do such a thing? I'm not someone who goes above and beyond the call of duty. Hell, I'm the guy who puts in the bare minimum, gets away with the maximum I can, and then goes home to work off my homicidal frustrations by playing Call of Duty. Hello, Millie, I say hesitantly as I approach her side while she slips a 50 into her machine. Hello, Mike, Millie answers amicably enough. Very nice massage the other night, and she gives me a thumbs up and smiles. My back was killing me. Feels so much better now. Oh God, I think to myself, so it's true, damn it. I'm never going to live this one down. Then Millie drops her voice down to a conspiratorial whisper. I saw that Asian couple watching me again, Mike. Always those two are it, you know? They want my machine. They always have their eyes on it, I can see. Of course I know the couple in question, and given how slightly built both of them are, it's more than likely they're eyeing the plates of food next to Millie's machine. Is it just me, or do we seem to be bringing the Big M more and more food to her machine all the time? And I can't help but think that at some point this process is going to become more expensive than it's worth. Probably somewhere around the time staff bring in a wheelbarrow full of food just to tide her over for a snack. Or when we have to get a wrecking ball to knock out a wall in her house so we can get her out of the place and down to the club to spend a few $1,000 more. That, or if she should ever get a paper cut signing one of her many checks for a big win, and the cleaning bill that accompanies a carpet stained with all the fatty food she's ingested over the years and decades. I picture an explosion of ginormous proportions and the walls and machines covered in digested beef, special sauce, dim sims and spaghetti, among other things. Angry Joe is swearing in what I'm pretty sure is either Greek or Italian as I walk by his machine. Nothing new there, I think to myself. Well, at least there's a certain comfort to be taken from the familiar, I guess. But as he spots me, he begins talking about Adele's cooking, how she likes to make this and that, and has this home recipe that's been in the family for so many generations and on about food. I'm starting to tune out when Angry Joe says to me then, "So, what time should we expect you?" Back at the coffee machine, I just feel like beating my head against the wall as Luke does his best to cheer me up. Could have been worse, bro, Luke says, and I give him a sarcastic smirk for a reply. How so? I ask, feeling bitter. You could have woken up in Vula's bed instead of on your couch for one thing. And he laughs. Good point, I concede. You seem down, Luke observes. What's on your mind? Nothing, I say dismissively. Nothing at all. It's just, to be honest, I thought at my age I'd have something more to show for myself. At least have made supervisor and be earning a slightly better income or have more hours considering how long I've been at this place. But it's like, no matter what I do, nothing changes, you know. It's fine for all you guys to be working here at this level. Most of you are studying or working other jobs as well. And, you know, going places, doing things, working towards something. I just feel like I'm going in circles and sometimes I just want to stop this ride and get the fuck off.